Zechariah 9 through 11. The coming of Zion's king. Chapter 9. Judgment on Israel's enemies. The coming of Zion's king. The Lord will appear. 10. The Lord will care for Judah. 11. To shepherd. Through horrible judgment would fall on Israel's neighbors, Israel would be preserved for long-awaited day of her Messiah's arrival. The king of Zion would come riding upon the colt of a donkey to defend his people and defeat his enemies, just as he promised. Yet, in spite of his offer of redemption, the king would be rejected and betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. Zechariah 12 through 14. The Lord comes and reigns. Chapter 12. Jerusalem's enemies to be destroyed. 13. Cleansing from sin. 14. The Lord comes and reigns. Zechariah clothes his prophecy with a breathtaking panorama of events in store for Israel in that day. Topographically, the Mount of Olives would split in half. Spiritually, idols and false prophets would be removed from the land, and Jerusalem would become the focus of worship with a cooking pot as sacred as the bowls beside the altar. Militarily, God would destroy all nations that comes against Jerusalem. Politically, the Lord would be king over all the earth. In short, every aspect of Israel's national life would reflect God's authority, an exciting prospect indeed. Malachi 1-4. Judgment and Covenant Renewal. Chapter 1. Israel doubts God's love, breaking covenant through blemished sacrifices. Chapter 2. Additional warning to the priest, breaking covenant through divorce. 3. Breaking covenant through injustice, breaking covenant by withholding tithes. Israel speaks arrogantly against God, the faithful remnant. 4. Judgment and covenant renewal. Malachi brings down the curtain on Old Testament prophecy. Malachi the prophet and Nehemiah the builder were contemporaries, and the problems Nehemiah faced become the basis for the sermon Malachi preached. Corrupt priests, mixed marriages, closed conscience, these were the conditions under which Malachi wrote. Using a question and answer style, Malachi highlights the arrogance and insensitivity of God's people. His convicting words of judgment usher in 400 years of silence during which God's prophetic voice is no longer heard. But the last book of the Old Testament anticipates the first book of the New, where John the Baptist breaks the silence by declaring, "Prepare the way of the Lord." Matthew chapter 3, verse 3. Matthew chapter 1-4. Jesus the Messiah. Chapter 1. The genealogy of Jesus the Messiah. Joseph accepts Jesus as his son. Chapter 2. The Magi visit the Messiah. The escape to Egypt. The return to Nazareth. 3. John the Baptist prepares the way. The baptism of Jesus. Chapter 4. Jesus is tested in the wilderness. Jesus calls his first disciples. Matthew begins his gospel with a record of genealogy of Jesus Christ. But this beginning is more than merely a tabulation of names, for the word genealogy can also mean Genesis. The Old Testament book of Genesis traces the creation of the universe and man. Now Matthew shows that the advent of Jesus inaugurates a new creation. From the call of Abraham, God has been moving to accomplish his great redemptive plan. Jesus, the prophesied Messiah, fulfills the Old Testament promises in every facet of his life. Annunciation, birth, boyhood, baptism, and upbringing. Matthew chapter 5 through 7, the Sermon on the Mount. All candidates for public office must present a platform upon which to base their campaign. Jesus claimed to be the Messiah, the King of the Jews. The section you will read today, traditionally called the Sermon on the Mount, presents his platform, his statement of heaven. Relationship to God, not simply adherence to ritual and inward attitude, not merely outward action, become the focus of Christ's message. Only by building upon the sure foundation which God has provided can we live a lifestyle of righteousness that exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees. Matthew chapter 8 through 11, the healing of Messiah. Jesus heals a man with leprosy and cures many. The cost of following Jesus. Jesus calms the storm. Jesus restores 2 demon-possessed men. 9. Jesus forgives a heals and paralyzed man. The calling of Matthew. Jesus questioned about fasting. Jesus raised a dead girl and heals a sick woman. Jesus heals the blind and the mute. The workers are few. 10. Jesus sends out 12. 11. Jesus and John the Baptist. Woe on unrepentant towns. The Father revealed in the sea. Matthew concentrates on 10 miracles in chapters 8 and 9 that demonstrate Jesus' power over disease, the forces of nature, and the spirit world. Christ then bestows that same power and authority on his chosen apostles and sends them out as ambassadors of the kingdom.